Hey guys, it's Trevor Lang with Peak Potential Physiotherapy and Wellness here. I know I'm going a bit off of my schedule. It's Friday instead of Thursday, and happy Easter to everyone out there. Don't know if I'll get a lot of people getting on Facebook Live today since it's Good Friday and a lot of people are off work. So I wanted to explain or go over our recent blog post that we had, the 5 myths most people believe about the pelvic floor muscles. We're going to link to that in the comments below, so please click on that if you have any questions. But it's a topic that is not discussed a whole lot. Is it taboo? Is it people that just don't want to talk about it? Heck, why is a male, why is a guy talking about your pelvic floor? But they're all, it is all needed. So both males and females do need to work and discuss what's going on with the pelvic floor. So what I'm going to do is go over the 5 myths and talk to you a little bit about them. If you're jumping on, please leave a question or comment below. I've been working in this industry for over 12 years. I've been a physical therapist for over 12 years and in the rehab industry for about 15. So I am Trevor with Peak Potential Physiotherapy and Wellness. We are located in Collierville, Tennessee. Right now I am blessed in being with some family in Dallas for the weekend to celebrate our Easter holiday. So again, please leave any questions below. We are discussing the 5 myths most people believe about your pelvic floor muscles. So I'm going to go over the 5 myths real quick here, and then we'll discuss them as we go along. So myth number 1 is everyone needs to do Kegels to have a strong pelvic floor. Myth number 2 is the pelvic floor problems are only occur when muscles are too weak. So when your pelvic floor muscles are weak is the only time that you have a problem. Myth number 3 is I'm too old to strengthen my pelvic floor muscles, which is a bit funny, but everyone thinks, oh, I'm too old to get stronger muscles. It also pertains to pelvic floor muscles. A muscle is a muscle is a muscle. Myth number 4, I'm a man. I don't need to do anything for my pelvic floor or exercise it. And myth number 5 is I have a strong core, so I have strong pelvic floor muscles. So people think, oh, well, I do a lot of sit-ups or I do planks or Pilates, anything like that. And they're like, oh, I have a strong core, so I don't need to work on my pelvic floor muscles. So those are the myths that we are here to discuss, debunk, shed light on, however you may want to discuss it. So this is an issue that's not really talked about a whole lot. So to give you my background, my first practice I was at, probably for 6-7 years, I worked a lot with chronic pelvic pain, and just because it's an epidemic in the United States is I work with lower back pain. A lot of times, women especially feel that it's okay to leak, to have stress incontinence or urge incontinence, those sorts of things. And it's not okay. It's not something normal. It doesn't happen to everyone. And the body is gratefully and wonderfully designed that we should rebound from what we do. So if you have children after menopause, after a surgery, after abdominal surgery, for guys after prostate problems or cancer, you have to understand what is normal and what is not normal. It is not normal to leak when you exercise, to leak urine when you're coughing and sneezing, to do it when you're laughing. It's not normal. So I know it's a little bit of an odd subject, but we're going to go through it. So one of my favorite stories that I have is I had a patient who, it was probably just a year or two after I had started practicing, and she had lower back pain, and we worked on her lower back, and she was feeling great. She had a few kids, and we got her doing everything she wanted to do. And I had her behind a curtain. We were doing some soft tissue work and loosening up her back, and she kind of looked over at me. She's like, "You know what? I really have to thank you." And I said, "Well, why? This is my job. I'm glad you're feeling better." And she goes, "I haven't had to wear a pad, or actually I think she said depends, in a week or two now." And I said, "Oh, well, what was going on?" And she said, "Well, I always had leaks during the day." And then I delved into it a little bit, and it was because she had pelvic floor issues that she was leaking during the day. And what I had done in our global treatment, when I work on a lower back pain patient or a hip pain patient, anywhere in that vicinity, is I teach someone how to turn on their specific core muscles. And I think it's been the past 2 weeks that I've really discussed, or have kept, I guess, hinting towards, that I would talk about the core muscles. Today I'm going to talk about specifically the pelvic floor muscle. I'll touch on the other two just so that you know there's 3 main deep core muscles. But she said, "I haven't had to wear them." So in a roundabout way, we were treating her pelvic floor because I taught her how to engage those muscles. Okay, so it's something that's joked about a lot, and my wife Amanda wrote the blog. She's a physical therapist as well. We actually met in PT school. She hears about it online from friends, from family, from colleagues, that just, they kind of joke about it, that, "Oh yeah, I can't jump on the trampoline with my kids," or "I can't jump rope, or else I'll leak." And it's not something that you have to deal with, or you have to live with. So it's due from several different things. What the pelvic floor muscles are, so to give you a little bit of what it is, and then why it happens, is it's a hammock sitting between your legs. It attaches to the front part of your pelvis, or your pubic bone. So it's the bone kind of right below your belly button that you can feel, and then it sits and attaches to the tailbone, and they form a hammock. And there's a bunch of little different sets of muscles within there. There's a few sets there, but what they're supposed to do is, they're your sphincter muscles, they're all these other things, but they basically hold everything in place. So we use these muscles for bowel and bladder, for sexual activity, also in the birthing process, and it helps stabilize the spine. So if you have any issues or injuries with this, these muscles are going to be affected. As we age, the muscles can get weaker as well, but they can always be treated. So everyone needs to do Kegels for a strong pelvic floor. This also goes into the second myth of my explanation here. Not everyone needs to do Kegels, and you don't have to sit there. It's what a lot of my clients say, is like, "Oh, the physician told me just to do Kegels, and I know what Kegels are, and I can just do them." But a lot of times, you don't have to do Kegels, but you have to do other things that are causing that. I've seen a lot of an association with hip and back issues with having urinary incontinence or sexual dysfunction with that, or pain with intercourse. And all of it's because there's just dysfunction in that global musculature. So not everyone needs to do Kegels, but you have to figure out why some of this stuff is happening. And that's what we do as manual therapists at Peak Potential, is we identify that. Now, we don't have internal pelvic health specialists, but we do have several that we refer to, or that we've worked with in the past, that I know have the same thought process in how we treat. So you don't always need to do Kegels, and pelvic floor problems only occur when weak muscles occur, because you're like, "Oh, well, I'm leaking, so therefore my muscles are weak." It's not always the case. It can actually occur when your muscles are too toned, or meaning too tight. So you can have all these problems with too weak muscles, or too tight muscles, or toned muscles. the other myth of being I'm too old to strengthen my pelvic floor is not true, because any muscle can be strengthened, and in the research it's been shown that there is no barrier as far as age for the benefits of strengthening exercise, and that includes pelvic floor muscles. And for the guys out there, you don't need to do pelvic floor exercises. You do if you're having problems, because again, it can help with, hey Travis, hope the move and the new clinic are going well up there. It's good seeing you on there. So men can also have problems because of it involves with back pain, sexual dysfunction, urinary incontinence, or bowel health, and people need to be able to strengthen their pelvic floor in order to do this. And so the fifth myth is I have a strong core, so therefore I have a strong pelvic floor. You can actually, the three big core muscles, you have what's called your transverse abdominis, which is a deep abdominal muscle. It's the one that runs actually horizontally. It's deeper than the six-pack and oblique muscles. Then you have your pelvic floor muscles, which is a conglomerate of several sets of muscles, which we just talked about, sits like a hammock. And then you have a third one called your multifidus. They all share the same nerve innervation, meaning they're supposed to work together or in concert with one another. And that's what we teach after we've dealt with the mechanical issues that have caused those muscles to be in dysfunction, either too toned or too weak or not turned on when they're supposed to be, that sort of thing. So that's where you have to figure out, well, I might be doing sit-ups and planks and Pilates and all this stuff, but if you're still having these types of issues with stress incontinence or urge incontinence, those sorts of things, or even sexual dysfunction, the pelvic floor still is a problem, even though you might be doing all of these core or strengthening exercises. You have those superficial core muscles, the obliques, the rectus muscles, those sorts of things that are superficial, and you have to have that strength underneath. I tell people it's like building your house on rock. You have to be able to stabilize and have a foundation first for these bigger muscles, the rectus, the obliques, the lats, all these bigger muscles, the glutes, something to stabilize against. That's why it is said that the core is where all movement stems from, but it's the deep core where it stems from. Okay? So truth, we have the myths, now the truth is you can't ignore your pelvic floor. So exercises to improve the pelvic floor must be addressed for those deep layers that we just discussed, as well as seeing what mechanical problems are causing those muscles to be in dysfunction. And all that can be addressed through an assessment by a physical therapist. You can always talk to us. You can shoot us an inquiry form on our website at www.peakpotentialpt.com, or give us a call, 316-5456, area code 901, and we can discuss that. I know it's a little bit of a sensitive subject, but most of the time it is associated with hip or back pain. I've even had people with upper back pain that then we get people so far. In our traditional physical therapy model, we get people so far. They might be 70-80% better, and then we just can't find the thing to get them to over that next plateau. And then when we start discussing it more, is they do have a pelvic floor issue that needs to be worked on, and then we either refer them out, or there's very simple things that we can do externally to help that, and then to just get their mind and their muscles connected again. So please feel free to leave a comment below, and we'll address those as they come up. I'm also going to link to the blog after this so that you can click on it underneath the video. But again, your pelvic floor muscles cannot be ignored for male or for female. And I want to wish everyone a happy Easter back at home, and please enjoy your time celebrating and understanding the true reason for this. Our bodies are wonderfully and wonderfully made and should work the way they should. And so there's a great creator for that. So If you have questions, please leave them below, and we'll address them as they come up. So it's been great being with you all again, and I'll be back on my schedule next week, and we'll be doing the Facebook Live next Thursday. So have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.